I'm a 32-year-old guy who considers himself pretty laid back. But everyone has their limits, right? I've got a steady job, pay my bills, and generally keep to myself. For the past 2 years, I've been in a relationship with my girlfriend. Let's call her G. Things weren't perfect between us, but they were good enough that I started imagining a future together. A few months ago, G began talking about wanting to take a proper vacation. A real getaway, not just a short road trip. Cancun seemed like the ideal destination. Sun, beaches, and the chance to unwind. It sounded like exactly what we needed. We flew out on a Friday morning, and G seemed unusually bubbly, almost giddy. At the time, I chalked it up to the excitement of the trip. But looking back, there were small warning signs I didn't pay attention to. For instance, she was glued to her phone during the entire flight. Whenever I glanced over, she tilted the screen away. I joked, "What's so urgent that you can't unplug for a couple of hours?" She waved it off, saying it was just work stuff. By the time we landed, I had convinced myself I was overthinking. The first 2 days went well enough. We hung out by the pool, explored local restaurants, and took silly photos like any normal couple on vacation. But on the third day, things started to feel off. G kept stepping away to take work calls, which felt strange for someone who had insisted she wanted to unplug and relax. In the afternoon, she said, "I'm going to check out some shops down the street. Want to come?" I was stretched out on a lounge chair, cocktail in hand, and feeling lazy. "Nah, I'm good. Bring me back something fun." She smiled, but it wasn't her usual smile. It was forced, almost like she was relieved I'd said no. Then she left. Something about her energy didn't sit right with me. I'm not usually suspicious, but for some reason, I decided to follow her. I waited about 10 minutes before heading toward the shops. It didn't take long to spot her. She was sitting at a coffee shop, but she wasn't alone. Across from her sat a man I recognized immediately. Her ex. They were laughing like they had just shared a private joke. Let me pause here and explain. G had a complicated history with this guy. They were on and off for years before we met, and she had sworn to me that it was over. She even showed me texts where she told him to leave her alone. Seeing them together now felt like a punch to the gut. I didn't want to confront her then and there. I wasn't ready for a scene. Instead, I hung back and discreetly snapped a few photos with my phone. Evidence. My heart was racing, but I forced myself to stay calm. I followed them at a distance as they left the coffee shop and strolled to a nearby park. They looked comfortable together. Too comfortable. At one point, she hugged him before they parted ways. I could have confronted her in that moment, but I didn't. I wanted to see just how deep this went. When she returned to the hotel, she was all smiles. "The shops were great. I got you this." She handed me a cheesy souvenir keychain. "Thanks," I said, forcing a smile. "Looks like you had fun." "Yeah, it was nice to get out for a bit," she replied without so much as a flicker of guilt. That night, while she was in the shower, I did something I never thought I'd do. I went through her phone. I know it's not cool, but I needed answers. What I found confirmed everything. Their texts revealed they'd been planning this for weeks. The vacation wasn't just a romantic getaway for us. It was a cover for her to meet him. She told him she missed him, that she still thought about him, and that she needed closure. Closure? Seriously? I barely slept that night, but by morning I had a plan. The next day, I acted like everything was fine. We went snorkeling, had lunch, and even took a walk on the beach at sunset. But the whole time, I was mentally preparing my next move. That evening, I told her I wasn't feeling well and wanted to stay in. She seemed disappointed, but didn't push. "I might head out for a bit," she said casually. "Sure," I replied, keeping my tone neutral. As soon as she left, I sprang into action. I packed my things, called the airline, and booked the next flight home. Then I went to front desk and canceled our room, citing an emergency. By the time she returned to the hotel around midnight, I was gone. I left her a note. "Gee, I know about your little reunion with X's name. Hope it was worth it. The room is canceled, and I'm on a flight back home. Good luck sorting this out." Was it harsh? Maybe, but she deserved it. On the flight home, I replayed the past 2 years in my head, realizing how many red flags I'd ignored. the secretive texts, the flimsy excuses, the way she downplayed her history with her ex. I felt like an idiot for not seeing it sooner. But more than anything, I felt relieved. When I landed, I blocked her on everything: phone, social media, email. I didn't want to hear her excuses. A few days later, mutual friends started reaching out. Apparently, G had been calling them in tears, claiming I'd abandoned her in Mexico. She didn't tell you why? I asked one of them. She just said you freaked out and left. I sent the screenshots and pictures to our mutual friends. That shut down their defenses quickly. The fallout for G was brutal. She had to scramble to book a last-minute flight home, which cost her a fortune. Her ex completely ghosted her as soon as she explained what happened, and her friends began pulling away as the truth spread. As for me, I'm doing great, better than great. Actually, ending that relationship was the smartest decision I've ever made. If there's a takeaway here, it's this: trust your instincts and don't let anyone take advantage of you. I didn't expect much more drama beyond what I'd already seen. But G wasn't the type to let things go quietly. About a week after I returned home, I received an email from an unfamiliar address. It didn't take long to figure out it was her. The email was a train wreck. It was packed with half-baked apologies, flimsy excuses, and outright fabrications. She claimed meeting her ex was a spur-of-the-moment decision and insisted she hadn't meant for it to happen. She begged me to talk to her, swearing I misunderstood everything. Misunderstood? I had photos. I had text messages. What exactly was there to misunderstand? I ignored her email entirely. A couple of days later, one of her friends called me, a person I'd always been on good terms with. "You really hurt her," they said. "Hurt her?" I replied, incredulous. "Do you even know what she did?" She told me she met her ex, but wasn't what you think. She just wanted to clear the air. Clear the air? I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. Because sneaking around and hugging him screams honesty, right? I forwarded them the same screenshots I'd shared with others. That ended the conversation pretty quickly. For a while, I thought that was the last I'd hear about it. But G wasn't finished. She started spinning a new story where I was a villain. According to her, I was controlling, paranoid, and had ruined a vacation because I couldn't handle her being friends with her ex. She even accused me of stealing her belongings when I left, which was absurd considering I barely had time to pack my own things. She took her lies to social media, painting herself as a victim of my so-called jealous rage. I didn't care about her falsehoods, but what I didn't expect was how far she would go. One morning, I woke up to a text from my boss. "Call me." Confused, I called immediately. "What's going on?" I asked. "We got an email from someone claiming you've been acting erratically and might pose a danger to the team," he said. It included screenshots of texts where you supposedly admitted to being unstable. Felt like a punch to the gut. "None of that's true," I said, trying to steady my voice. "We figured," my boss reassured me, "but HR needs you to come in and address it." When I saw the email, my stomach dropped. G had created fake screenshots to make it look like I had been ranting and making threats. The forgeries were sloppy, full of typos and strange formatting, but it was still disturbing. Thankfully, my boss and HR dismissed it as a hoax, but the damage was done. My reputation had taken a hit, and I knew exactly who was responsible. That was the last straw. If G wanted to fight, she had picked the wrong person. I consulted a lawyer and laid out everything: her lies, the fake screenshots, and her attempt to jeopardize my job. The lawyer recommended sending her a cease and desist letter, which I did immediately. The letter was firm and straightforward, detailing her actions and warning her that if she didn't stop, I would pursue legal action for defamation and harassment. To drive the point home, I had it delivered by a process server. Her reaction was exactly what I expected. She texted me from a new number, ranting in all caps about how I was overreacting and ruining her life. "You're doing that yourself," I replied before blocking her again. Then I got strategic. She had always been a bit too open about her life on social media. It didn't take long for me to find posts and comments that showed her true colors. She had bragged about conning people, flaking on commitments, and even hinted at sabotaging other relationships. I saved everything. not to use against her immediately, but as a precaution in case she escalated further. And escalate she did. When she realized the legal threat was serious, she tried to turn more of our mutual friends against me. She claimed the cease and desist letter was an attempt to silence her, but most of our friends were already on my side. They had seen the evidence. The backlash hit her hard. People started confronting her publicly, questioning her lies about the vacation, the texts, and me. Some unfollowed her online. Others cut her off completely. The final blow came from her ex. Apparently, he had no idea she was in a relationship when they met up in Cancun. After finding out, he posted a scathing rant online, calling her a manipulative liar and warning others to steer clear of her. It was brutal and well-deserved. By the time the dust settled, G's reputation was in ruins. She deleted all her social media accounts and disappeared. I heard through the grapevine that she moved to another city. But by then, I was done caring. Revenge isn't always the answer, but in this case, it felt justified. She tried to destroy my life, and all I did was expose the truth. Looking back, I'm grateful for everything that happened. It taught me to trust my instincts and never settle for someone who doesn't respect me. So guys, if you all like today's story, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon. Thank you for watching.